it's Brian Sebastian, movie reviews and more, iHeartRadio, and all the platforms around the world. So this is a special Zoom interview. I don't normally do these anymore, but I had to do this one. And the reason for this is, Michael, I want you to tell everybody who you are, what you created, as I'm looking at some of your
There it is, Churro Crunch.
All right, talk about how you started this. Go ahead.
So my name is Michael Norr. I'm in Los Angeles. I'm actually a fifth grade teacher. Actually, this year, a fourth and fifth grade split. And I've started a little popcorn company, Sweetzer Gourmet Popcorn, named after my street, obviously enough, Sweetzer Avenue. And it seemed like a great name because all the popcorn is sweet. So it worked together, Sweetzer. And it started during the pandemic. We had some friends that we used to always get together for game night and pizza. And like everyone else, when the pandemic hit, everyone stopped getting together. And we decided that we liked each other and we wanted to keep seeing each other. So we moved it outside, bought ourselves a big screen, a projector, started watching movies in the driveway, bought some heaters to put up in the driveway. We bundle up and we watch movies outside on Saturday nights when it was 50 degrees out. And but we could get together, our kids could get together. And because we started doing that, we'd stop at about an hour into the movie and go inside and microwave some popcorn, get some candy, come back out and watch the second half. And after doing that for a little bit,
I'm all about that because I'm a popcorn whore. It's like I'm a movie whore.
Yeah. And after doing that for a little bit, I'm like, you know what? We've done microwave. I'm going to try doing some kettle corn. So I went to picked up a $40 machine at Bed Bath & Beyond, threw some kernels in there with some sugar and some oil, and we started making some kettle corn, and that was great. About a month later, I'm like, you know what? My wife and I used to love going to the ArcLight, and we'd get go to see the movie in the Cinerama Dome, the giant screen, but we also loved getting their caramel corn. So the screen was the highlight, the movie was the highlight, but we would just eat ourselves sick on that caramel corn. And so I got into my head, I'm going to try to make the caramel corn like we used to get at the ArcLight. And it was a dismal failure a few times, but eventually I got it right. And it was delicious. Best caramel corn I had ever had. So kept doing that. And then it kind of spiraled out of control after that. I'd get crazy every week and try to do stuff. I'd bring it into my kids at school, let them try samples, and people kept telling me, you got to do a company, go into Shark Tank. And eventually I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start a company. So, here I am.
See, I'm a regular popcorn guy. I've had the popcorn from UK, from Australia, salt, no salt, the buttery type of things like this. But this is interesting. And I thought you named it Sweetzer because I used to live on Sweetzer too in West Hollywood. Mm-hmm. So that was my guess. Good for you. Right. I like that, actually.
Yeah.
So when this happens like this is an important thing. Popcorn brings people together. The families love to have them. Kids, right? In the other room, they're munching on a couple of other stuff. They want to put the little grubby hands on it. I'm like, no, this is mine. I don't want you to have that. But I had to give them some because they're like, popcorn. I want to have some popcorn. And I'm like, okay, I think you like this one. So when it comes to, I haven't tried this one. Talk about the vanilla part. Why is this good? I've never heard of this before, but it's got my interest.
So it started with the caramel corn, right? I was going to make that, and it was delicious. And I thought eventually I was going to try different things. And I did some crazy stuff, didn't worked. But eventually I settled on this concept for the company, which was one, if I'm going to do something like a caramel corn, or I think you've got in the background there, you got one of the cheese popcorns, you can get a jalapeno cheddar. If I'm going to do something like that, it's got to be better than anyone else's. It's got to be the best you've ever had. But also, I wanted to make stuff that no one else has done. So I started experimenting with different flavors, different combinations, things you could get that tasted amazing that you couldn't get with any other company. And I take ideas from everywhere. Some of it's me just tinkering. The vanilla butter was actually a former student of mine who I'm friends with the father. So I've seen her since she's left. She's now a senior in high school. But she's like, you ought to do a brown butter vanilla bean. So she actually came over and we worked in my kitchen together. We did the first rendition of it, the brown butter vanilla bean. It was delicious, except browning butter is just a time-consuming process. So I got rid of the brown butter part of it and just stuck with the vanilla butter. And so her idea became the vanilla butter, and it's delicious. And it's, as far as I know, you can't get that. You can get a vanilla, but not such a deep, rich vanilla combined with that. We have a motto in the house: everything's better with butter. So it's a great combination, vanilla butter.
Talk about the Sweetzer mix. I'm gonna pick about just one more because less is more. So talk about Sweetzer mixes. This is gonna be interesting.
So the Sweetzer mix came about because originally I was only going to do sweet flavors. I mean, Sweetzer was the name. I figured lots of companies do savory, lots of companies do cheese. I was going to be completely different. And this is my first venture into the business world. And as I quickly found out, you can't hold true to what your original idea is to some case, because everyone kept asking me, do you have cheese? Do you have savory? And I felt like I was losing too much business if I didn't do it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it. But if I'm going to do it, it's got to be great. And then people kept asking me, well, we love the Chicago mix. We love the cheese and caramel. And everyone always mentions Garrett Popcorn. It's one of the biggest popcorn companies in the world, based out of Chicago. And they're famous because of their cheese and caramel mix and their blue striped tin. So I'm like, I don't want to do Garrett. I don't want to be them. They've already established themselves. I wouldn't mind their business. I could handle 50 million in sales every year. But I'm like, I've got a caramel that's great, but I've also got this vanilla butter that I love. And if I can combine that with cheddar and then also a white cheddar, I think it elevates that mix that people love, because people love their cheese and caramel together. So I'm giving them something new. And I think it elevates it a little bit by giving more complexity to the flavors.
All right, the last surprise one, Cheddar Ranch. Talk about this one. This one seems interesting to me. Everyone that you created, I'm like, oh, I want to try those. Normally, that's not normally how I do. I just want regular popcorn. But it's the different flavors, I think. It's the different names, and I thought that was creative.
Yeah. Once again, the Cheddar Ranch is just a play on, I don't like just doing single flavors. I want some kind of complexity to it if I can. I mean, there's the classics like sea salt caramel. You want to have a good caramel. But with so many things that I'm doing, I want it to have like that Willy Wonka-like effect. You taste it, you get one, and you get a second flavor. Sometimes you get a third. So Cheddar Ranch was an easy one. One, people kept asking me about it, but two, people love their cheese popcorn and people love ranch. So just it seemed like a no-brainer. I know it is a flavor you can get elsewhere, but I think I make my cheese better than anyone else's, and I think the ratio that with the ranch that's put in there, I'm not a big ranch person. I don't really like ranch dressing. I love the Cheddar Ranch. I think it just hits the sweet spot of enough to give you the flavor, but not overpowering. It's just delicious.
All right, so how can people reach out to this? So social media links, do you have them yet? You working on it?
So I'm on Instagram, Sweetzer Gourmet, and then I've got a website, www.sweetzergourmet.com, where you can see the flavors we've got and you can order online. And I've got, I've created more flavors. I don't want to be known as the Baskin Robbins. I don't think that's a good thing. I don't want to be known for the guy that has tons of flavors. I want to know for the originality and the creativity. So I've kind of narrowed it down to like my 8 flavors right now, knowing that I'm going to introduce more down the road, because I think I've got these really amazing, unique flavors like French toast or banana pudding that are tremendous. But as a little guy, I can't make too much right now. It spreads me too thin. So on the website, you can get the ones you just showed up there, the Cheddar Ranch. You can get the jalapeno cheddar. My personal favorite of the savories is the everything bagel white cheddar. And then you can get 4 different sweets. You showed the vanilla butter, which is under the classic, the caramel. My best seller is actually Churro Crunch, which, as far as I know, I think you've got a bag of it there. As far as I know, I haven't seen another company that does a caramelized churro. You can get like a savory churro. You can get a kettle corn that's churro, but this is a caramel corn that's sprinkled in with Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal. And then there's my personal favorite of all the popcorns, which is the chocolate jalapeno, which I think you've got a bag of that too. That is, I don't think anyone else does that. That's an original Sweetzer creation. You get chocolate right away. You taste a great rich chocolate. It takes about 8 to 10 seconds. And then you get the jalapeno.
All right, last question.
Yeah.
Can't get out of here without naming a couple of favorite films, movies that you probably watched while you were eating Sweetzer Gourmet Popcorn.
So oddly enough, it's blurred right now, but I'm in my classroom. We were just talking about movies the other day, about favorites, and we were talking outside about the last time you cried, and then we started talking about movies that were making you cry, and I've got a list of favorites. It's an easy one. I go for my gut reaction, right? When I left the movie, I said the best movie I ever saw, Die Hard, the original.
Which is actually a Christmas movie.
Yeah, that gut reaction. Funniest movie upon leaving the theater, when I left and said, man, that is the funniest movie I ever saw. Oh my goodness. Why is it escaping me? I can't believe I'm having one of those 50-year-old moments, right? Where you draw the blank. Kevin Kline, Jamie Lee Curtis, the fish called Wanda. Yes. And then if people ask me my favorite movie, though, I always go back to Field of Dreams. I can't help but watch that, and that connection to
at 6 a.m.
Yeah, growing up with baseball, just dad, playing with dad, and just having a son who I coach his baseball team for 7 years. Just that it just I could watch it every day, it seems. It's just a perfect movie to me.
All right, last thing, give your social media links one more time.
So you can find me at Instagram, which is Sweetzer Gourmet, and online at the website www.sweetzergourmet.com.
All right, I'm Brian Sebastian. This is Movie Reviews and More. Please check this out. We're going to have him on our live shows coming up pretty soon. And it's about small business. It's about supporting. And again, going to the movies. Nothing is better than that. All right, we'll see you.